another issue. There's never any minutes. But I requested Butler Snow's contract. I requested it from the Solid Waste Authority. I requested their contract as legal services. I also requested the last 12 months of approved bills that y'all paid to them. I was charged $325 an hour for a legal fee for a FOIA request. Is this the agreement that the board has for the public exercise and the public right? That's my first question.
I mean, we charge hourly rates when.
Yeah, I got charged administration fees, you'll see on there. I did pay those, and I'm accustomed to paying them. I paid hundreds of dollars a year for that. And that's fine, that the public doesn't need to absorb my interest. But I don't see any possible way that my request involved a legal review to bill me.
We can look at that.
It was stuff that was already done in the minutes. Well, there aren't any minutes, but nothing's public. I did some electronic requests. You can't even find out who's on the board. Can't find it. Can't find it. It's not there. Very poor record keeping. There are no minutes. Can't find them either. That's not good. But I got a little follow up to what I want to tell you. This Butler Snow thing is really a problem. You can't even get a building permit without this attorney or her dad approving it. You can't get a public records request from any county agency or Bay St. Louis.
It's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Both your statements are totally false, so go on.
Well, I've got people that'll tell you who they gotta go through to get their permits.
That's not true.
County administrator doesn't handle that?
I'm not counting.
No, but in Bay St. Louis, I'm told repeatedly I'll run that by Heather.
No.
Oh, okay, that didn't happen then.
It might have if there's situations you gotta look at and all, and what they're trying to do.
Well, Mike, I understand that you're
But you
being
can go
very
get a permit
defensive
in
for
there
Butler
today.
Snow, and
So
I
don't make a
understand the
statement, don't
connection.
make a statement, you know, because some people have used her, especially when development's coming in and all different things, and had to go through her to see.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not every day,
No,
so, go ahead.
okay, it's not every day. There's a lot of defense here that you'll see for Butler Snow. They got it covered. Okay, I was punitively billed, and this goes back for all of you who don't know. I've got an ongoing thing with Bay St. Louis, and from the conflicts of interest that are just wide and varied with Butler Snow. They represent every county agency, this one should be included. They do work for the Board of Supervisors. They do Bay St. Louis's. It's just unbelievable. We all know the contact there. We all know the connections. It's just terrible. Even coastal tourism, you can't get to it without going through Mr. Ladner. But we're gonna stick with solid waste today. I want a refund of my money, but this ain't about money. This is about process. I want a refund. I want remarks submitted into real minutes that I was punitively billed. And I want a letter stating that I was punitively billed. And also today, publicly, since they're a public contractor, what's gonna be done to stop this punitive action to protect the public? We got some serious conflicts. Jimmy Ladner is the tax collector. He collects the bills for solid waste and fees. He's the county administrator. We got Mike Favre, Miss Nancy, I got Larry Smith on here because electronic records don't show you on this board. Okay? The, Heather Smith represents Bay St. Louis. They got two people sitting here. You got two supervisors that work closely with Mr. Ladner. We got, we gotta do better than this. Hancock County is a small county, but for God's sakes, we only got one attorney that can handle everything in the entire county, including the county seat.
Now, she had, Butler Snow does have to do some legal work for us, but Gary Yarborough is not our attorney.
That's my next question. Why do we have to contract him to do, equipment leases and things like that? But this ain't about the county right now, it's about this board.
Well, you keep throwing Jimmy's name up, he's part of mine.
That's right, I know y'all protective, go ahead.
No, I ain't protecting. We got Jimmy Lightning, cause we went through 3 administrators. One left before we first took off 10 years ago. We hired one, she stayed with us a little while, she left. We got Eddie Farr, which did a great job for us. And when Eddie left, we moved Jimmy in part-time.
3 or 4 years ago.
No, whatever, I don't know the year.
An interim 3 or 4 years ago, but anyway.
And then we moved Jimmy there. Then we kept him there because he's doing a good job, and we didn't have to go out. He's doing a job for us as a minister.
Not questioning the job he does.
And permits. Now, I don't know if Jimmy has anything to do with permits.
Oh, well, you can ask the blind tiger, he has to go through him for everything.
That's different, he wanting a
That's
lease
it.
from the
I'm
blind,
I'm
on
going
county
county, huh?
property, totally different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew
So-
y'all, I
so-
was all prepared for the defense,
It's no
okay?
defense, but
True.
you came about the solid waste, so
Yeah.
let's get on.
Yes, and I got punitively billed,
All right,
that's obvious.
I got some questions. Dawn, did you see this?
What?
The paper that Mr. Ward handed out?
I didn't see.
Why was he charged these his numbers? You need to get a copy of this.
These are the ones that are provided to me by, Neil Schaefer.
It says the total, these are his calculations, I guess. The total $112.25.
No, Mayor, these are, and Dawn can explain it, he was charged a fourth of an hour at
$325.
$325 an hour, which is the rate that you guys have with Butler Snow outside of your retainer. That is the rate that you pay. So that is where the $325. The reason he was charged the 4th hour of legal fee was for the legal review. So Dawn had to take these bills, we had to pull these bills, send them to me. I had to go through every one of them to make sure there wasn't anything that needed to be redacted. That is what that number reflects. The same as with any other entity, if you have anything that has legalities or that needs to be reviewed or redacted prior to releasing it to the public, that's typically the only time an attorney gets in with a public records request. If somebody comes in and says, give me a copy of your ordinance,
Right.
I wouldn't, as the attorney, look at this. If somebody came in and said, hey, give me a copy of your solid waste plan, I, as the attorney, Dawn would just give them however much time it costs. That would be her time and then making the plan. So that's where that comes from. And then the administrative time was the 1 hour at $20. That was for Dawn to go pull all of these from the year, and then the copies were the amount of copies that were given. So that's an explanation of the.
And the total was $112.25.
Correct.
So that's normal procedure that you make a public records request, it has to be reviewed by the attorney and you bill at $325 an hour. Is that what we just established?
As I said, it's only reviewed by the attorney if there is a legal matter.
It wasn't a legal matter,
He
it
was
was,
requesting
records
legal
that were
bills.
recorded after and approved by this board.
And just because it's a legal bill does not mean that it's all, yes, it is a public record, but it does not mean that it's a public record that you have to then go turn over directly to make sure there could still be privileged and confidential information on a legal bill.
Well, my opinion is different. I asked Butler Snow for everything that was approved by this board, nothing to do with a contract, nothing to do with a lawsuit, nothing to do with anything, just the bills.
Well, it might be included on those bills.
Well, that would be y'all's problem, not mine.
No, it's not.
Okay, well, y'all gonna stand, Mike, as you know, all y'all know probably, I do records requests routinely, and I've never been billed a legal fee by any county agency or the city. This one just happened to pertain to Butler Snow. I think it's punitive. This one, I didn't ask for, waste management's bill, I asked for Butler Snow's. I mean, there's a definite problem here. I can't believe that in a poor county like Hancock County, that you gotta pay Butler Snow to get a FOIA request. If it's just whimsically, well, we might need to get the attorney to look at it.
Well, it is, the attorney looks at it and makes sure there's nothing on there.
Well, that doesn't come under the $2,500 a month that we pay them?
No.
Oh, it wouldn't? So what did they get paid to come in, is that what that's for? I mean, I just see some serious problems. And this is just one area that y'all are only interested in. But, there's so many, I would go to the ethics department, but Mr. Ladner and Butler Snow, Mr. Butler Snow's at every trough in the state, okay? They contribute campaign funds, this is all public records, they contribute campaign funds to everybody that appoints somebody to the Ethics Commission. I can't get a fair look there. I can't get a fair look. Jimmy Ladner's connected to everybody, he's on every board, he controls everything. I just think this is egregious. It's none of it's deniable. It's conflicts of interest everywhere. Just everywhere.
You been to the ethics board?
I just told you why I'm not interested in them. The Butler Snow's at every trough, Mike.
I would suggest go to them.
No, what we're gonna do is bring it, if I can't get resolution, we're gonna bring it to an independent, jurisdiction and get somebody that's not at the trough.
Okay.
Because this is a far-reaching problem in Hancock County. Far-reaching. It stretches all the way to the Chamber of Commerce and how it's funded by every single agency in the
I'm
county.
here to talk about the chamber.
No, I know you do, you caught kind of flat-footed, but at the end of the day, we're gonna get some resolution today, or it's gonna go to the next level, and I'm not fooling with these state agencies that Butler Snow is at the trough with.
I got another question. I just Googled Hancock County Solid Waste Authority. Why do we not post minutes and agendas? It says we do on that, but we don't.
We've started it, I just haven't finished them yet.
I think the
That
last
was
one I saw
requested
was-
several years ago, many times by Joey Boudin.
I think
by
the last
me,
one I see,
by
and the
me.
last one I see was from
You want to talk?
2023.
If they'll recognize me.
I'll look and see, but I know I posted more after that.
Maybe I'm not pulling it up right, but we are trying to keep that up there.
Mike, may I address that? think I can answer that question. Jay, this was quite a few years ago, I can't remember right now, but Tommy Schaefer was still living. He was still on the board here, the commission. And I approached the commission one morning and asked them that very question. I said, every entity in Hancock County, every public entity, post their minutes and their financials on the internet. I can go to the internet this morning and read your dockets, everybody's dockets, but the Solid Waste Commission will not do theirs. And we talked in the lobby, and he said, I'm gonna make that motion for you, Lana. I said, would you please, because, well, we shouldn't have to bother Dawn during the course of the day. We shouldn't have to be coming in there asking for this, and asking for that, and asking for the other. We should be able to sit down at home and do like I do yours, and everybody else's, but they won't do it. But the motion was made, and Eddie was on the commission at that time, and the motion was made and seconded and passed unanimously for them to do it, and they won't do it. Now, the attorney spoke against it. She says, we've never done this, I don't see any reason to do it. But the commission overrode her and voted to do it, and they have yet to do it. So this needs to
Okay.
be cleared up.
Saying that if I spoke up and said the commission had never done it, that
Yes.
is not speaking against it. So with all due respect, Ms. Lana, if you're gonna quote something,
Well,
quote
it may
it
be,
right.
that may be
So
the way you
there is
see
a-
it.
there is
So it
much
could
difference
be the
between
fact
what
that
Ms.
she's
Lana-
trying to
There is
That's
much
right, man.
difference
You're gonna
between
have to
quoting
deal
a
with
fact,
political
and
privilege
then
over
trying
here.
to put things into my mouth. So you will never, the Solid Waste Authority has utilized the county's website. To my knowledge, the Solid Waste Authority has never purchased a website on its own. It has records that I know Ms. Lana and Mr. Rod both have gone in and requested. If you go in and ask for the minute book, pretty sure Dawn will lay it out and hand it to you. So nothing, I wanna make it very clear here that nothing has ever been hidden, nor have I ever spoken out about not putting things online. The Solid Waste Authority has not used the money to go and set up its own software, its own, website program. If the board would like to spend money to doing that, that is a vote and a discussion that you guys can take. To my knowledge, and this is a Dawn question, but to my knowledge, the Solid Waste Authority has tried to utilize the county's website in order to not have to incur additional funds.
Okay,
Well, excuse me one second. Mr. Lyda, do we have access to use the county website to post?
Yes,
minutes?
as a subdivision of county government, y'all would be more than welcome to use it.
I mean, I pulled it up on my phone just now. I mean, this is my 4th year sitting on this board. I've never had to, I missed one meeting in 4 years, so I've never had to go check minutes. But,
okay.
I just
let me
pulled it
get-
up, so there's a spot for it.
Well, let me get back to my statement, if I may.
All right.
There was, in my perception, an attempt to influence the commission that this was not necessary. I'm entitled to my perception. I was here, I was at the podium, and when I started to speak, I was interrupted with what I perceived as an attempt to influence the commission. And it must have worked, because they've never done it. They've never done it. So that attempt to influence the commission was successful. You put all of your business on the internet, all of yours, everything. Let's get the Hancock County Solid Waste Authority into the 21st century. Now, you publish the minutes of your planning and zoning, because I've heard that officer get to the podium and make his report, and it's on the written minutes and in his suggestion that his minutes for his, agency he represents will be spread, their minutes will be spread on the county website. There is no excuse for this. It's archaic not to have the business. If I wanna see how much they spent on what, I just go sit down, pull up their website, and it's there. Except for these people. And the commission passed the motion unanimously, and they have ignored it. And that's why nobody can get into their website or into their business, their financials and their minutes. This has to stop. This is 2026. Let's get up to date.
Dawn, do you have any idea how long before we can get online with that, you know?
We would, I mean, if it's okay for Mrs. Jimmy, we could put it, I could add them all in there, I mean.
If you research their minutes, Mike,
I
they
would
have a
rather have
motion
our
that
own
passed.
Website, if that would be okay.
You can't
I
find it
mean,
'cause it's
that
not the
probably would be
minutes.
best
Then
to
don't
do
do
it, but that's, y'all.
I've gone out there and Heather's right. I've asked for the minute book myself, because you can't go to the internet and do this. And they brought me the minute book out, and I have searched myself for, you think everybody should have to do that in this county? Come on,
We looking at it, we can do it, all we gotta do is.
you've
go
done
through
it.
these Jenny,
It's
we can
on
do it.
record in your minutes, it better be, because it was a motion that was passed. I'm not here asking you to do it. I'm here telling you it's been done, and you need to see that it is enforced.
We can move on with that.
You cannot have the office
I don't
staff
think
and
anybody
the
on
legal
here.
counsel deciding what happens.
I don't think we need to spend money to create our own website. If we have access to the counties, and just pull it up on my phone 5 minutes ago, it looks like we can just dump the minutes, the
Like I
agendas, the
said, I put
financials, the
some,
board
I
members.
probably are a
everything.
little behind on it, but it's not that big of a.
It's not that big of a deal. How long has Tommy Schaefer been dead? About 4 years or so? Yeah. Okay, that's my statement, but you don't have to do anything, Jay. It was done. They are the ones that have to fulfill what the commission instructed them to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
To me, just as a citizen, these cozy relationships, this is what it results in. But, back to my complaint, obviously I couldn't get this information without going through that way. I looked this morning to see if I'm missing something. What am I doing? I use ChatGPT. I can't even find out who the board members are. But the bigger issue here is I feel I was punitively billed just because of past relationships to another entity that they represent, Bay St. Louis and the Chamber of Commerce. And I know you're not interested in Bay St. Louis, you're not interested in the Chamber of Commerce, but it's part of the complaint. Because I've had conflict with this person on those entities, it's transferred over here, and clearly it's punitive because the request was a basic request. A contract and 12 months of checks. I got them right, I got them here. I mean, you
Is
know.
it in our policy to charge the attorney fees and all, that's all part of the policy?
Yes, that's state law.
So,
But it didn't need a legal review, Mike. It was approved by y'all.
I know what you're saying, it was approved, but there's sometimes stuff in there
It's
that,
punitive. It doesn't happen at any other request I
It
make.
does.
None.
It
These
does.
exact same requests.
but some of the requests may have client attorney privilege or
No.
whatever.
What, a check? You wanna see what I got?
But the check don't state, yeah, I understand.
No, check doesn't say anything.
The
That's
check
all I
don't
got
say
was those
anything.
things.
It
Don't
does.
say
That's all I
so,
got.
but
That's all I got in
you
the
asked for
contract.
minutes and different things and contracts.
I didn't ask for minutes.
Oh,
I asked for the contract that Butler Snow has with y'all, the agreement, the operating agreement, and I asked for the checks written at the end of each month. That's all I asked for. That doesn't take a legal review.
I can see that on there.
That's punitive. That's clear
I
cut.
asked for copies of my bill, the request I made. So also like to clarify, Mr. Ward also lost his records request and then came back to Dawn and submitted a new records request.
Yeah, I paid for it.
I
Not
don't
the
think you
second
did not
request.
pay for the second one. I think Dawn
No,
just
you
gave
did
you
not.
a copy of
Oh,
that,
well,
so.
what I
you
did,
paid.
what I did is because I wasn't gonna pursue it, but because of so many things that go on, I said, you know, I'm gonna pursue this. So I went back to Dawn and said, specifically, I would like I didn't get that, by the way, I'd like a copy of my last request and the results of my last request. And she did it, except she didn't give me my last request. I guess that was a little confusing. When I read it, it wasn't exact, but that's fine. My last request is just what I stated. And me losing them, is that a problem to anybody? I mean, if I lose my records, it's a penalty if I go back and ask for it again?
Again, he was not charged a penalty, he was given a copy
I
of it,
didn't
and
ask-
he
I
doesn't,
mean, that's not the
Mr. Ward,
complaint.
I'm responding.
No, see, I got the
So,
podium and
he
you're not,
asked-
and you're not taking control of
You
this
asked-
meeting. I'm talking.
okay, but you asked a question,
I asked you.
well, they answered it.
But you didn't give her the floor, she just takes it, like she does in every other meeting.
That's not, look.
No,
what
Mike,
is
that's
your
just the way it
request, Ryan?
is.
What is your request?
Oh, I got you, okay, 101. I want my money back. I want on the record that it was punitively billed. I want a letter stating that it was punitively billed, because your minutes are not posted, they're not there, so minutes are nothing. And I'm gonna demand that I get my money, and I'm gonna demand that y'all have a discussion publicly, cause it's a subcontractor, on why I was punitively billed.
Anything
Executive
from the
session
council?
doesn't apply to this.
Anything from the council? Take it under consideration, move forward. You got more?
Could I say one more thing, Mike? I would just like to offer the commission this thought. anything, and how many of you have read the open records law in this state? You must be familiar with it, you worked in the school system so long. The open records law for Mississippi lists everything that is appropriate to be given to the public, and it outlines things that are not appropriate. Real estate transactions, strategies and lawsuits, those kind of things. It's very cut and dried. The expenditure of public money should never be on the can't see list of a public body. And it's already been decided by the Mississippi legislature. No commission, no board, no anything has to decide it. It's right there. This is beyond ridiculous in the year 2026. If it's an expenditure of public funds, we get to examine it, period.
Say something, please. Is there anything in Mr. Ward's request that wouldn't have been in the minutes if we had the minutes posted?
Oh, good question.
Yes, so what I was trying to explain is that Mr. Ward's request, the contract with Butler Snow, that would have been in the minutes. But my understanding of the request, I don't have it in front of me, she only has, what does this say? Let's go with this request. It says invoices for Butler, it does say Butler Snow contract, and it says invoices for Butler Snow, October 24 to October 25. That is the part that's not, the invoices would not be, it will show up on a docket, you will have an amount that you paid to Butler Snow, will be on your docket that's paid, but the actual invoices are not, and that's true whether it be Butler Snow or whether it be, coastal or waste management for our land services, the amount that you pay, the invoices are not gonna be in those minutes. So, what Mr. Ward is saying and what he requested are two separate things. He went beyond, he didn't ask for the docket showing where Butler Snow had been paid, he asked for Butler Snow invoices. The content contained on those, so you have the Open Meetings Act, which you have, that allows you the different things you can go into executive session for, but then you also have attorney-client privilege in documents. Just because there's a document out there does not mean under the public records request that you have to turn it over. So there is still information that can be on those bills that's attorney-client privilege that would need to be redacted. So that's where he was charged 15 minutes for my time to sit down, go through every one of these bills, flip through it, and make sure there was nothing that was attorney-client privilege that needed to be redacted. He was then provided a copy of a year's worth of Butler Snow bills. That is what he was charged for.
Invoices was asked for,
I didn't get the redacted bills.
but you
I
asked for
didn't get, I
invoices.
did, but I didn't get that. What I got was, exactly what I got was just the payments.
I understand, but you
So,
asked for
but
invoices and that was she.
I'm a lay person, that couldn't have been discussed with me, that couldn't, just would have been, like, Mr. Ward, here's the problem we got. I mean, I'm a citizen, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a smart guy. But at the end of the day, it was clear what I wanted, and it was clear that it could have been corrected if I worded it wrong. And I did not get redacted bills. I didn't get that. All I got was what I thought I asked for, was that. That's all I got.
And he is correct, because there was nothing on the bills that ultimately had to be redacted. So I went through them, there was no attorney-client
Still had to go through
privilege.
and check it.
Yes, sir, exactly. And can't say, it says invoices for Butler Snow, BS, I'm assuming that's Butler Snow, October 24 to October 25. So, I don't know, there's not really much.
I'll own
That's on
that
the
as a
record,
lay
that's on
person.
the records request that he
Yes,
sent?
sir.
That's on the record,
Right here.
okay.
As a lay person, I'll accept
Now,
that.
did he
But
actually get
invoice,
invoices?
bill,
Yeah, look.
Did he
check,
actually-
I don't know, that's just terminology.
You got two meetings going on, Mike.
Wait, let's get this up.
There's nothing here. And then here are all the invoices. And see if there's something
We can't hear them.
But I make these same requests to a lot of places, and I've never had this, ever brought up. I just got this bill, and, I personally, my history with this is punitive. And it was specifically about that law firm. It wasn't about anything else. And they know what I wanted. I wanted to see how much money we're paying them at every agency. I did it for every agency. Her dad handled the rest of the requests. That's all I wanna know is how much we're paying Butler Snow, and most importantly, why, you know? That's a basic citizen's, it's my obligation actually as a citizen, if you know what the Constitution says. But, it's punitive and it goes on and it's a problem, it's a county-wide problem.
So you're saying you were not charged legal time from any other agency?
None, ever. And I asked the same exact, they're almost duplicates except I changed the top of the, page of who it was requested from.
I can't speak, the one of those that I do know, cause I did not have to review it, I just knew that it was done. I do know he requested the amount of money that was paid from Butler Snow. He did not request invoices, he requested the docket payment, and that is what the city of Bay St. Louis responds to him. And so
Well,
I did not have to review anything, cause it was nothing, he did not ask for Butler Snow invoices, if so, I would have had to go through and redact them. He asked for the amount of money paid to Butler Snow, and that is two completely separate and distinct requests.
It's in your court, I ain't got any more to say, you know how I feel about it.
Well, I do, Rod. Let me just say one thing, one last thing. The Open Records Act states clearly, you make a request. The entity has 7 days to respond to you, yes or no. If the answer is no, for whatever legal reason they find, they are to respond to you in writing, telling you why the answer is no. We wouldn't have to be standing up here this morning. Go read it. We wouldn't have to be here today if he had gotten an explanation. I can't give you this because, and that is a requirement by law. Go read the Open Records Act. It is, a fifth grader can comprehend it. You make your request, you've got 7 days for them to look up the records, whatever. If it's something they say, oh, you can't have that, they have to respond in writing as to why.
Just to follow up on that, when I picked it up, I got my bill. I said, oh, I gotta pay Butler Snow for this? And I never got in that, yeah, she was the messenger. Miss Malley was just the messenger. And that's the answer I got. I paid it, I was glad to pay it. Because it's just further evidence of a problem, a systemic problem we got in Hancock County. We got too many cozy relationships, we got too many, you know, in the ethics it says,
So.
not to even have the
We're not here to
perception.
talk about the rest of the county again, you know, if you want to.
Okay, well, let's talk about solid waste.
We talked about solid waste.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
Been
say
on
it.
that, that's what you're here for.
Butler Snow represents Bay St. Louis. Butler Snow does business with the county. It says clearly in ethics that even the perception of an ethic should be avoided, and that's all I gotta say.
Mr. Ward, did you get your request within 7 days? Your answer to you?
I might have, it was kind of a runaround on the front end. I didn't have any issue with the time because I wasn't under a time constraint. It could have been or could not have been. It just wasn't
You
an
made
issue to me.
your